Karn, Scion of Urza, to be banned in Standard? It's more likely than you think. So I've been kind of reading around and looking around online for the kind of like inevitable question, should Karn, Scion of Urza be banned in the Standard format? So let's do like a little bit of numbers real quick and then talk about why or why not. Out of the top 12 decks on MTG Goldfish right now, as far as the top decks in the meta for Standard, only 6 copies of Karn are within those decks. One could argue though that that card is very expensive, being at around $60 a pop in paper, which is insanity to me. He's actually quite cheaper, or a little bit cheaper online as well, being at just 30 tickets online, but still very expensive card overall. So 6 copies in the entirety of the top 12 decks of the Standard meta, so that's not a lot. Then you have to see that, you know, Red-Black Vehicles that was traditionally using him as a card draw engine is now using more Chandra, Torch of Defiance at the moment for their top deck results. So Karn is kind of making his way out of the format, even though he's still a super powerful card. And of course, if you guys saw GP Birmingham, you actually saw Karn like as a 4-of in a like legacy deck with the Mono Red Prison. So Karn's very, very good in all formats. Going to be good in Standard, going to be good in Modern, going to be good in Legacy, even Vintage or whatever else probably. Karn has the capacity to be a very, very powerful card. The problem here is Standard is a very quick format. Standard is a format built on, you know, flexible, very fast, low to the ground strategies like Red-Black Aggro. Now, it was called Red-Black Vehicles for a while, or a more like a mid-rangey, more kind of control strategy like Blue-White Control. The problem with Karn being in both of those decks is that Karn, one, does not really come from behind. Like, it really doesn't like do anything to come like from behind. Like Teferi, Hero of Dominaria, is very good at being able to bounce a creature as well as draw a card and untap land for a follow-up counter or follow-up removal spell. Karn does not do that. Karn doesn't like bounce anything on the field. Karn doesn't like protect you or anything. It does give you a creature if you want to do that with Karn, so that's fine, I guess. But the problem with Karn is that the giving you a creature is a negative for him, not a 0 or a plus. Whenever Gideon Ally Zendikar was in Standard, you saw all these decks going around with Gideon in them saying Gideon's too good, Gideon's too good. Well, the reason Gideon was so good is because Gideon can plus or 0, I believe, and just make a 2/2 alpha visibility, as well as being a creature himself. He could protect himself the turn he came on board and still be able to survive something. If Karn does his -2, he dies to a lightning strike or something like that. So it's kind of one of those situations where he sort of does the same thing, but at a negative cost, which does cost him basically his life. Another thing, of course, is that Karn, his plus ability is basically an opponent's choice. So if you get into a really good card in a land, your opponent's going to give you that land every single time, and that's really sucky for you. Now, Karn does have 5 loyalty counters, which means he will probably last the next turn, so you probably will get that card the following turn. But if it's like the second to last turn, and you might die the following turn, then that +1 is just useless against your opponent. And that's why I feel like you're kind of seeing less of Karn in all of these deck lists. He's just not as good as a lot of people were thinking whenever he came out. However, he's still $60 in paper, so he's still like holding value because of the Modern and Legacy like kind of formats. But I do think eventually he'll kind of start to come down once there's more reprints of him coming out and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, a lot of people are still kind of clamoring for a Karn Scion of Urza ban, kind of relating it to a Smuggler's Copter situation, and I just don't see that. Like, I understand that it's a colorless card. It's one of those things where it's like, if it's a colorless card, a lot of people are like very like, you know, scared of it, like a Mox Amber. Whenever it first came out, they're like, oh my gosh, it's going to break the format. Mox Amber hasn't done hardly anything in Standard, let alone any other format really. And now we have Karn Scion of Urza. It's kind of a card that just kind of exists in the ether of like, you know, all of these other colorless cards that's really only made good thanks to cards in Kaladesh, you know, Aether Revolt, things like that. That's going to rotate out in September. So it's one of those cards that's only good right now because the size of the format makes it good. So I think to ban it right now is a little preemptive. It's a little too early to do that. I think you need to wait a little bit longer and think about the card after September and say, okay, is the card worth banning now? And if it is, then definitely think about that. But I think right now, and even like after the rotation, Karn Scion of Urza is probably going to be fine. All Karn gives you is basically card draw and card advantage, and that's one of the things that, you know, is really interesting something really great about the card, and that's one of the things that makes him kind of secretly good in the format, because a lot of people don't really like value card advantage that much sometimes, or if you're into the format and you're kind of new, you won't really like evaluate card advantage is very good. So Karn gives you that. Karn also gives you a creature if you want to, but you have to kind of build around that creature to make sure that creature is useful, which means he's only useful in very niche decks right now, and only decks that are going to be like viable until September. So do I think Karn, Scion of Urza, will ever be banned in Standard? Right now, I'm going to say no. I'm going to say he's probably fine for the format. He's a very expensive card right now. He's like Lyra Dawnbringer, which I'm like, this card shouldn't be the price it is, but I mean, I understand because of the price and the inventory and the stock and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, it's like, eventually, there should be enough copies out there that the price starts to come down, and it kind of will probably rest around the $30 mark, I think. I feel like that's probably what's going to happen. It might rest around the 15 ticket mark online, but right now it's at 60 and 30, and I feel like that's kind of insane, just looking at how many copies are actually in the top 12 decks in the meta, which are only 6. But these, of course, are just my thoughts. What do you guys think? Leave them in the comments down below. Like it if you like it. And one thing else on this video, I still haven't done a giveaway for this box right here, this box of Dominaria. And, you know, while Karn is still $60, I feel like it's probably best to kind of give this away. So if you guys want this, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment below on, do you think Karn should be banned, or, you know, what's your favorite deck right now in the meta? And I'll definitely pick somebody and probably announce it next Friday. By the way, I don't know if you guys can notice this, but it actually comes with the Fire Song and Sunspeaker card on top there too. So just whoop, there it is right there. The buy box promo is on top of that too, so if you guys are interested in that, definitely leave a comment, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will definitely check it out and pick one of you guys and then announce it on Friday. So reach out to you probably on Thursday and make sure to you know, kind of get that going. But if you guys are super interested in that, definitely go for it. And yeah, just kind of excited about Dominaria in general. I feel like right now Standard is in a very, very good place. It's in a very balanced place to me. Although I think Pro Tour Dominaria will probably show that, you know, control is going to be king, hopefully. I just kind of want blue-white control to win, even though everyone hates that deck right now. But I just don't want aggro to win right now, because I feel like aggro has won so many times in the past couple like standard formats that seeing a control deck like blue-white control finally topple the aggro king would feel good. It would feel real good. And if a rogue deck like just kind of shows up and just kind of blasts everybody to oblivion, that would be amazing too. So if you guys are definitely into Pro Tour Dominaria, I almost said Bravos of Ixalan, Pro Tour Dominaria, that's this whole weekend, so make sure to check that out on Twitch if you guys haven't already. And yeah, if you want to win this box, just comment below, like the video, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video tomorrow for another deck tech. So peace.